Sony has come a long way from where they started. The PS4 is the best-selling console out there right now. The PS3 was solid, and the PS2 is one of the greatest consoles of all time. But what about the PS1? The gaming industry was much stranger at the time that the PS1 was released due to how new everything was and how much developers were trying to push what video games were actually capable of, as well as those who just wanted to steal a quick buck off a customer who were desperate for new games on their fancy new PlayStation. Because of this, PlayStation 1 definitely had some disastrous games. What's up, guys? Jimmy here. Welcome to Chaos Top 10s, and today we are going to be counting down the top 10 worst games for the first Sony PlayStation, the PS1. Before we get into it, we are running a $200 Amazon gift card giveaway the entire month. All you have to do to enter is like this video, be subscribed, turn on your notifications, and leave a comment why you want to win it with your Twitter handle attached. I will announce the winner at the end of the month on Twitter. Take advantage of that giveaway, and if you guys want to see worst games for PS2, PS3, PS4, best games, whatever you want, drop a like on the video and let me know which one you want in the comment section. And now, let's go over some really bad PS1 games. I didn't even know some of these games existed, honestly. At number 10, we have Hooters Road Trip. It's always funny when random brands and chain restaurants try to make video games. Perhaps the worst of the bunch is Hooters Road Trip, a racing game based, you guessed it, on the Hooters restaurant. Released in 2002 and published by Ubisoft of all people, this game had you race around random locations in the US, and the visuals were actually pretty decent for PS1 standards, but the gameplay itself was horrible. You slide around the road, the hit detection is strange, and after each match, you get a live action video of a Hooters girl awkwardly telling you you did a good job or telling you you are in the US. It was really weird, and it was just weird. Hooters Road Trip is the perfect way to kick off this list. At number 9, we have Star Wars Masters of TERAS. Given the massive Star Wars universe, it's a little strange that we have gotten a Star Wars 2D fighter since the first one, but perhaps the Masters of TERAS is the reason we haven't gotten a Star Wars 2D fighter in recent years. Released all the way back in 1997, Masters of TERAS played like a horrible version of Mortal Kombat, but with the Star Wars paint job. It doesn't make any sense. The movement was very sluggish and slow, which made combos pretty much impossible to do, not to mention how unbalanced the character roster actually was. Many have called Masters of TERAS the worst Star Wars game ever made, and it's easily one of the worst games to be released for the PS1. If you are familiar with the legendary rock band Kiss, then you know about the insane antics of one frontman Gene Simmons. And at number 8, we have Kiss Pinball. Gene is known to do pretty much anything as long as it gets him a few bucks, and Kiss Pinball was all thanks to him. Released on the PS1 in 2001, Kiss Pinball had one of the dumbest premises ever, as you played pinball and you hit certain targets in the machine to get guitar riffs to play, all while lame, repetitive, generic rock music actually plays in the background. The game didn't even have the decency to let you listen to actual good Kiss songs while you played. You had to listen to some crap that sounded like some kind of non-copyrighted stuff you would get off YouTube. Kiss Pinball got tons of negative reception for being lame, boring, and extremely buggy, as the ball would often just get stuck in place, forcing you to restart the entire game. If you guys want to go try it, if you want to play Kiss Pinball, just go to a real pinball machine and listen to Kiss while you play. Boom. Problem solved. What a shocker, we have a worst game on this list that is a movie tie-in game. At number 7, The Fifth Element. This one, unfortunately, based on one of the best sci-fi movies ever. The Fifth Element was released in '98, a full year after the movie, and it's really bad. It's exactly what you would expect from a movie tie-in game from this time period. It is a third-person action-adventure game with clips from the movie playing in between the levels. The Fifth Element game was panned by critics and gamers for being boring and having awful level design and reliances on puzzles that they weren't even challenging at all. Not to mention the horrible controls, bad camera, and the stupid AI enemies. Stay far away from the Fifth Element game. Just go watch the movie. Just stay away from the game. Yes! At number 6, we have Barbie the Explorer. Alright, a Tomb Raider clone starring the famous blonde doll. When I say this is a Tomb Raider clone, I mean it. The gameplay and the plot are almost identical to each other. Barbie has to travel around the world to solve the mysteries of the mystic Mir by collecting random artifacts from various areas around the world. Does that sound familiar? She has to complete with, she's platforming, puzzles, random caves and dungeons to explore. Sound familiar again? The game's horrible. Go play Tomb Raider and don't even waste your time on Barbie Explorer. Cracking into the top 5 today, we have RASCAL Racers. With the massive success of Mario Kart and the hype around the new PlayStation console, it only seemed natural that Sony would try to make their own equivalent to Nintendo's lighthearted go-kart racing game. But what they ended up with was not that. RASCAL Racers was released in 2004, which is already a bad sign. That game was released for the PS1 in 2004, 4 years after the PS2 had already launched, and it featured lame, cheap, knockoff Mario Kart gameplay with random animals in the place of your beloved Nintendo characters. While the music is fun and the environments can be somewhat cool to look at, the game itself sucks. And I have to mention again that this game came out for the PS1 4 years after the PS2 was launched. At number 4, we have South Park. While many people love the Stick of Truth game and are hyped for the Fractured But Whole, South Park hasn't always had such good luck with video game launches. In fact, their first outing in the gaming world is often cited as was one of the worst licensed games to ever be released. All the way back in '98 for the N64 and the 1999 for the PC and the PS1, this game, simply called South Park, was a first-person shooter where you played as one of the main 4 characters from the show as you fought off enemies and defended your town from tanks. I know it's random, but that's what you did. You defended it from tanks. It had the worst graphics of all the versions, had bad controls, it removed the multiplayer present in other versions of the game, and the voice acting, for whatever reason, it sucked on the PS1 version, not the other ones, but it did on that one, making the jokes feel very repetitive and unfunny. Thankfully, South Park has gotten a little more luck in the gaming world in recent years, so we can all forget about this train wreck of a game. Before the research was done on this video, I didn't even know this game existed. At number 3, we have Mortal Kombat Special Forces. Now, Mortal Kombat just needs to stick to fighting games. While Special Forces wasn't the first non-fighting game in the series, and it wasn't the last either, it's easily the worst of the bunch. Released in 2001 as a PS1 exclusive, Mortal Kombat Special Forces was a third-person action beating-up game starring Jax, of all people, and serves as a prequel to the first MK game and is technically the very first game in the MK canon. The game scored so bad and sold so poorly that Midway Games had to cancel the series in order to not tarnish the actual fighting games, as Deadly Alliance was set for a release in the next couple years. Funny thing is, though, this was the second time Midway had to cancel a non-fighting Mortal Kombat spin-off game in order to not tarnish the reputation of the license, as just a few years before you got Special Forces, we got MK Mythologies, which starred Sub-Zero and was also critically panned. You would think that they would have gotten the message on the first one. This game could have been awesome just by the title. At number 2, we have The Simpsons Wrestling, and there are so many Simpsons games out there, and most of them actually suck. One of the most notoriously bad ones is The Simpsons Wrestling, because that's definitely something gamers wanted. Released as a PS1 exclusive in 2001, this game actually was more of a beat-em-up than a wrestling game, but that doesn't make it any better. To its credit, the game does have a pretty big roster of playable characters, but what's the point when the game itself is actually garbage? Not to mention that The Simpsons Wrestling is incredibly unbalanced, with Ned Flanders being the most OP character in the game. The game was panned by critics for its ugly graphics, choppy movement, unbalanced roster, and just the fact that it wasn't any fun. However, if you're a fan of the series, you could probably have a little bit of fun with it. We've reached the number 1 spot on today's atrocious list, and it goes to Bubsy 3D, and this was a disaster from 1996. Many people probably forgot all about Bubsy, as he was a 2D platforming character in the same vein as Mario and Sonic, although he never got much mainstream attention due to how average his games were and how great his competitors' games were. However, with the release of the new gen of consoles and the new 3D capabilities of them, Bubsy 3D began development, and in a lot of ways, Bubsy 3D resembled Super Mario 64, although it feels gross to even put the two games in the same sentence, honestly. It is simply a 3D platformer starring Bubsy in an attempt to get him into the new generation. However, it was largely outshined by Super Mario 64, which was released a few months prior and blew everyone away. Bubsy got decent reviews, lots of positive reviews, but the game just wasn't really that good. So they're trying to make a comeback. There is a title in the works called Bubsy the Woolies Strike Back. So maybe they'll bring the series back to its whatever glory days, if that was a thing. I don't know. And there you have it, my friends. Those are 10 of the worst PS1 games ever. Let me know if we got it right or wrong. What did we miss on the list? And make sure you turn on your notifications. Never miss an upload. Just click the little bell, check the box, and you will be good to go. We put up a brand new gaming top 10 every night at 8 p.m. And if you guys want to submit ideas for future gaming top 10s, there is a link below for that as well in the description. Who knows? It could end up being on the channel. Make sure to drop a like, be subscribed with your notifications on, and I'll see you on the next video.